Hi, it's Keith and Bates here, and today just some observations on what's going on with smart contracts on the Ethereum blockchain. So when you submit a smart contract to the nodes on the Ethereum blockchain, if it gets included into a block, that means that every node on the network is going to run your code. And what's more, all those nodes are going to get the same result. So it's a bit like taking your company books and giving them to 1,000 accountants and getting them all to do your final balance calculation. They're all, if they're good accountants, going to come up with the same result. So then there's the question, well, why do I have a piece of code that I want 1,000 or 10,000 computers all to run if they're all going to get the same answer? And the answer to that is that that's kind of the whole point of a blockchain. Its aim is to process transactions and get a single final view of the truth as to what those transactions achieve across a distributed, decentralized network. Now, this explains why the cost per computation of a piece of code in Ethereum, a smart contract in Ethereum, is so much higher than running the same code on a server in the cloud. I think I read somewhere that it's about 10 million times more expensive to run one CPU cycle on Ethereum than it is on an Ubuntu server running on Azure or AWS or something like that. And the answer is that, well, for starters, thousands of computers are going to be running that code. And secondly, it serves this very specific particular purpose, getting a single view of the truth when it comes to the state and balances of transactions and addresses on the Ethereum blockchain. So I think that means that if you're going to submit a smart contract, you have to really think about what are you trying to achieve with that contract. Is there a way of doing it off the chain? You know, it's not just some code that you write for fun. Well, maybe it is if you're experimenting with Ethereum, but the kind of business purpose of it is very specific. And the second thing, of course, is that if you write a smart contract, it can't have things like random numbers in it, because if you had a random number generator in a smart contract, if there actually was a rand function, then all the different nodes could end up with different answers, and then you don't have that single view of the truth anymore. So that kind of thing doesn't make sense. You can have a random number that is used in a smart contract, but you would have to feed it in through an oracle. So you could have an address that is looked up by the smart contract, and you could have an external random number generator that deposits a random amount of ether in that address. But although in that circumstance you're generating a random number, the fact is that all the 1,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 nodes would be retrieving that random number from the same address and running the code, and therefore ending up with the same output. So I don't really know what the purpose of that would be, but you can kind of technically do it if you want to. Anyway, just a few observations on smart contracts, what their purpose is, why they cost as much as they do, and some of the limitations of what you can do in smart contracts. Hope you found that interesting, and see you again in the next video soon. Bye for now.